Hi everyone, I'm Myelle. Welcome to my channel. Get comfy, grab your favorite drink, and let's slip into something a little strange. Here on Myelle Tales, I share stories that blur the line between real and unreal. So lean in close, take a deep breath, and let's begin. After my sister died, we found a drawer full of letters, dozens of them, all sealed, all written in her handwriting. They were addressed to a girl named Claire. There was no Claire in our family, no Claire in her friend group, no Claire on her phone, her laptop, her social media, nothing. And every single envelope had a return address that didn't exist. I checked. Twice. The handwriting was neat, gentle, the kind she used only when writing something that mattered. But the strange part wasn't just the name. It was that there were no replies, none. My sister never kept anything incomplete. She was methodical. Folders for bills, journals by year, inbox always at 0. If Claire ever responded, there would been something, but there was nothing. We buried my sister on a Thursday. On Friday, I opened the first letter. It started with, "Dear Claire, I saw you again today." That's all. Just one sentence on the page. The rest of the paper was blank. The ink was still rich, not faded. It looked fresh. I checked the date scribbled at the top. 3 months ago. The next letter was longer. "You were sitting on the curb outside the school just like the first time. You never look older. I think you're not real, but you must be, because I can't stop writing to you." I read 10 letters that night. Each was stranger than the last. Mentions of meetings that couldn't have happened, places she hadn't visited in years, dates that made no sense. Some letters were hopeful, others anxious. One ended with, "Are you sending someone else now?" I stopped reading, but I didn't stop thinking about them. The next morning, I opened her laptop again. I searched her email history, her messages, every file. Nothing about Claire. But in a folder called Work Drafts, there was a text file named only with a number, 309. Inside it, a paragraph. Sometimes I think Claire's replies are hidden between the lines. I never see them, but I feel them. She never signs her name, but I know it's her. It always feels like she's almost saying my name back. I closed the file. I didn't open any more letters that day. On Sunday, I returned to the drawer. One envelope had fallen behind the others. It was older, creased, smudged at the corners. The handwriting was different, more rushed. It said, "Do not read this one." I opened it anyway. Inside was a page with no greeting, no date. Just with, "She's not who she says she is. Claire isn't a friend. Don't write to her. Don't let her see you reading. She watches through the letters." That night, I couldn't sleep. I dreamed of someone standing at the foot of my bed, whispering a name I didn't recognize. In the morning, the letter I'd opened, the one that warned me, not only was sealed again, but my name was now written on it. I kept the letter, not because I wanted to, but because I didn't know what else to do. I placed it in a box and locked it in the closet, away from the rest. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. The way my name had appeared, written in the same ink, the same careful hand. The paper didn't look tampered with. No extra fold, no break in the fibers. It was like it had always been meant for me. I stayed away from the letters for 2 days. But curiosity is a kind of infection. You feel it under your skin, scratching. So I gave in. Letter number 11 was longer than the others. Claire, I had that dream again, the one where we're both older, sitting at the lake. You keep asking me questions I don't remember later. I wake up with your voice in my head, but it's never mine that answers. Letter 12 said, Last night, I heard someone whispering through the vent. I thought it was you, but it didn't sound like a girl. More letters followed, pages and pages, all in my sister's handwriting. In some, she sounded calm, grateful even. In others, she was scared. One ended with, Claire, please stop watching me when I sleep. The voice in the vent came up again and again. I tried to record the whisper, but it never plays back, she wrote. The tape is always silent or wrong. One time it played back my voice, but I wasn't talking. I felt cold reading that. I started locking my bedroom door, not because I believed the letters, not really, but they started to feel like something contagious. That night, I dreamed I was sitting at the edge of a lake. A girl was talking to me, but her face was always out of focus. She asked my name over and over. I woke up at 3:09 AML. The exact time was burned into my brain. I'd never woken from a dream so suddenly, so sharply. The air in the room was cold. The window was closed. I sat up, and in the silence, I heard it. A faint whisper, almost like breathing, coming from the air vent above my closet. I stood frozen for almost a minute. Then I grabbed the locked box, the one with the warning letter, and took it downstairs. I left it outside in the trash bin and closed the lid hard. The next morning, the box was back in my closet, unmoved, untouched. I opened it. Inside, the letter was sealed again, but now, underneath my name, was another line in smaller handwriting. Thank you for reading. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I did something I hadn't done since the funeral. I went into my sister's room, opened her journal, the one she never let anyone read, and turned to the last written page. It said, If you find the letters, don't stop until you finish. If she picked you, it means I failed. And beneath that, I think Claire wants to live again, but she needs someone to write her back. The final page was blank, except for a pen resting on top of it. It was uncapped, and it was warm. I didn't touch the pen. I left it there, closed the journal, and walked away. But the words followed me, especially the last line. She needs someone to write her back. That night, I moved the letters into my room. I placed them in a shoebox under the bed. I didn't want to read them. I didn't even want to look at them. But I couldn't leave them alone either. It was like they hummed now, like the paper carried static in the air. I started dreaming in sequence. Same lake, same girl, same blurred face. But the questions became clearer. Do you believe in me? She asked. Do you want to know who I am? Will you write back this time? In the third dream, she held a letter. My name was on it. I didn't answer. I never answered in the dreams. One night, just past 3 a.m., I woke up to the rustle of paper. The shoebox was open. The letters were spread across the floor in a neat arc, forming a half circle around the foot of my bed. And there was a new one. White envelope, same handwriting, my name on the front. No stamp, no return address. Inside, a single line. You're almost ready. That day, I called my sister's old therapist. I lied, said I was considering grief counseling, and asked if she'd ever mentioned Claire. There was a long pause. Then the therapist asked, "Has she contacted you?" The question chilled me. "Who?" I said. The line went quiet for so long I thought the call had dropped. Then, "I don't know who Claire is, but your sister spoke about someone she saw in her sleep, a presence. She thought it was a memory at first. Later she said it was waiting. I asked if she meant death. She said no. She said it was older than that. I asked if she had any notes. She hesitated. Then she told me that the last session before my sister died had ended with something she'd never written down. My sister had whispered, just before leaving, 'She knows my name now.'" I hung up. That night, I found the pen, not in the journal, on the desk, beside a blank piece of paper. The paper looked older than mine, cream-colored, slightly rough like handmade stock. I picked up the pen. It was warm, and I felt it again, that pressure in the air, like someone waiting. I didn't mean to write anything. I told myself it was just a test. But my hand moved. One sentence. "Dear Claire, why me?" I stared at it for a long time. The ink seemed darker than it should have been, like it soaked deeper into the paper. I went to brush it away, some instinct like undoing a mistake. But the paper was gone. Not misplaced, gone. In its place was a new letter, folded, sealed, addressed to me. Inside, "Because you believed." I started seeing her, only in mirrors, only in reflections, never directly. She was always standing a few feet behind me, her face still a blur, her outline sharp. She never moved, but every time I blinked, she was closer. I stopped using mirrors. I turned them to the wall, covered the bathroom glass with towels. But the reflections found new places. Doorknobs, windows, even the shine of my phone screen. She didn't speak, not anymore, but she left more letters. They started arriving without warning, in drawers, in the fridge, once inside my purse. Each one addressed to me, each one more confident, as if she'd known me longer than I knew myself. I stopped throwing them away. It never worked. And then one day, one letter read, "We're almost done, just one more." That night I dreamed of the lake again, but this time she was sitting beside me. Her hand touched mine. It was warm, too warm. She leaned close, and for the first time I saw her eyes. They were mine. The last letter didn't come in an envelope. It appeared on my pillow, folded, cream paper, still warm. No address, no name, just waiting. Inside, 6 words. "Now you know who Claire is." I stared at it for minutes, heart pounding. Then I went to the mirror, the one I'd covered weeks ago, and pulled the towel away. My reflection looked back, but for just a second, something slipped, a flicker. Not a different face, not a stranger, but not the me I remembered. Something older, something softer around the eyes, sadder, like a version of myself remembered by someone else. Into my sister's journal, the last page, the one that had been blank, now had a sentence in that same steady handwriting. "You were always her. I just held the letters until you were ready." And beneath it, the pen uncapped, still warm. I picked it up. I didn't feel afraid. I felt right. I sat at my desk, pulled out a fresh sheet of paper, and began to write. "Dear Evelyn, I saw you again today. And at my sister's name. The first sentence mirrored the first letter I'd ever opened, but this time I knew what came next. I wrote for hours. The words poured out without effort. I didn't have to invent anything. I remembered it all now. The lake, the questions, the warmth in the dreams. It wasn't haunted as remembering. When I finally looked up, the letter was gone. In its place, a new envelope. Different handwriting, different name. A name I didn't know. But I knew what to do. I picked up the pen. I started to write back. If you enjoyed the story, like, comment, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves a little mystery. I'll be right here waiting with another tale very soon. Take care and see you next time.